Good morning, Freedom Friends. This is Bee from Life Done Free. Today I had a wonderful visit with Nancy over at the Buffalo Seed Company, and we talked about saving dry seeds. If you're interested in checking it out, come on. Good morning, Freedom Friends. I'm Bee at Life Done Free, and I am here today with Nancy Kost, one of the owners of the Buffalo Seed Company. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, Bee. How are you doing?
Wonderful on this chilly day.
Finally, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I see you got your warm weather gear on too.
Oh yeah. It's like finally. So I've been waiting for this weather for such a long. It's kind of been like, but we have here, so that's good.
Yes, wonderful. So today we are going to talk about saving seeds on items other than tomatoes and cucumbers.
Right. So today we're gonna be covering all the items that's like when you have to wait on the plant to dry, instead of like wet processing like cucumbers, tomatoes. So like I think like with that we can cover all kind of like the basics of seed saving. So I think like I'm trying to think first. I think we can first start with flowers.
Okay.
Everybody loves flowers, right?
Yes.
So with flowers like zinnias, for example, almost all the flowers, I'm trying to think like, yeah, almost all the flowers, you cut them like when they are like, now you have to kind of make also a decision in terms of like if you're going to share with other creatures, because as you know, a lot of the seeds, a lot of the birds, they do love the seeds from flowers, like for example sunflowers. You have to really protect them. And then this is zinnias, so you want to cut them when they are drying out. That's when you have like the maximum percentage of seeds. But now, for example, you can see here some creatures went to their probably that little yellow flinch that had some snack on it. So it's almost like this one is almost empty. So to avoid that, what you can do is like go harvest them when they are start senescent, start fading the color. So then you have good seeds there. You see, this is the little seed.
Yes.
So that's hard. So it's gonna dry. It's gonna be good.
So is that seed a little bit green still?
Yeah, it's still a little bit, the stick is a little bit green. The colors of the flowers, the petals are already falling down and they're kind of changing colors. And then you can see the seeds like over here, they're black seeds. So that's like great seeds. And then you just let it dry for maybe a week or 2 weeks. Or now, if you're not into selling seeds, of course, you can just let it dry for 2 weeks and then put it in a brown bag and store that way. And then when spring comes, all you do is just like pull at the things and just sprinkle on your garden. And then you have you're planted there. Instead of, like, I mean, like with, as you can understand, with when you are selling seeds, you want to send clean seeds.
Yes.
But if you are doing for yourself, all you can do is just save these and dry them. And that's just very simple, as you can see. And the same thing. Yeah, tell me.
So on the pod thing, what the head that you have there, the dead head, can you say, if I was going to save them for myself, I could take that entire head and put it in a bag and save it like that all winter long until spring comes, and then I can.
Yep, that's going to be nicely dry. Once it's dry completely, you put it in a paper bag. Don't put it if it's still, because it will, if you put it still a little bit humidity, it will just mold.
Okay.
So you got to make sure it's nicely and dry.
Okay.
Like when you touch it, like it feels like, especially with zinnias, like a little paper, little like very fine papers. So you want to feel that, you want to make sure it's nicely and dry. And then yes, put it in a brown bag and leave it there. Label it. That's a really important thing. Like it wouldn't matter like how much seeds you save if you don't know what is it.
Right.
So yeah, so the labeling in the seed, when you are saving seeds, whether you're saving for personal, for sharing, for selling, labeling is like to track everything down, you know, like because anything could happen. I try to make sure like I label, I put the bag, put the label on it, make sure like it doesn't get lost, you know.
Yes.
Because like, yeah, that's very easy. You can lose a variety that way, because if you don't know the name or if it gets mixed up, then you'll be like, okay, what I'm gonna do now, you know, like, oh, maybe it'll be this. And sometimes you don't know, and especially on seeds that you cannot differentiate if you have like different varieties of zinnias, for example.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
they look alike.
yeah, yes, they look a lot alike. It's very certain varieties probably you can differentiate, but you know, just to have a clear mind that what you're saving seeds from is what you wanted, right?
Yes, very important.
Yeah, because if you put it like, okay, next year I want to save these red zinnias and I want to put it in front of the house, and somehow it ended up being yellow, you know, that would not be fun.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so that is, and almost all the flowers like cosmos, sunflowers, like with sunflowers now, it's again like you have to fight with the creatures, you know. It's a constant fighting, like at what point, because ideal will be just let it completely dry on the plant. That would be the ideal, but then you have to think about the weather.
Yes.
You know, if it gets wet, if it was kind of dry in the season, it gets wet, it can mold and you can lose a lot of seeds on that. So when do you harvest for sunflowers? Like, do you know, like when it's a bit the head of the sunflower, and then on top of the seed is underneath, but there is one little layer of like, you can kind of like rub it up and it falls down.
Yes.
When that thing is falling down, that's when you're safe to harvest, cut it off the heads before you lose to the birds.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's the best. Yeah. With wild sunflowers, kind of like the same thing. And the other way to know is with wild sunflowers, because wild sunflowers has, you know, like the wildlife had evolved with other creatures, right?
Yes.
So you're not gonna expect 100% harvesting on wild sunflower seeds, because like they're gonna be a lot of creatures that are gonna come eat with them. There's these little worms that they get inside the head, and then they just like, you like, oh, it's drying nice, and you go there and you pick it, it's just empty, and you.
Yes, I just did that.
Really?
So I was harvesting we have a common sunflower that grew all by itself.
Right, the wild sunflower.
20 feet tall.
Oh yeah, so it's beautiful.
I started clipping the heads off, and I know exactly what you're talking about, that other layer underneath this, or on top of the seeds that slough off when you touch them.
Yes.
So when you collect that head, that's what I did. I cut the head just like you did there, and I just set them on a saucer like this.
Uh-huh.
This is
wow.
Cosmo.
Lovely. You are an expert. Love it. Yep, that's it. Now with Cosmos, that's when you know it's ready. You got it. Yes.
So when I pick these, I can store it just like this.
You can store that for yourself. And then next year you just go, yep, like that. Just like that. Yep. Just like that, you got planted on your garden.
So these seeds here,
how
do I separate the seed
from the chaff?
Else?
Okay, now that's the next step goes, like I have like my late technology. So these ones are sandals. They are made out of rubber. So, and then like, it's really like, it's very useful tool. So you just grab it like this, and what I do with like almost all our seeds is just like smash it.
Okay.
Like for example, I'm gonna have here, like it's gonna be the same concept with that I have here a dill. So I have like a whole plate of dill seed here. So like when you harvest dill, for example, it's kind of more or less like the cosmos, it has to be dry. Now, some varieties won't ripe up all at the same time. Like for example, the dill bouquet that everybody's familiar with, that one like will flower and everything will dry at the same time. So you're safe with that. But certain varieties, we have this variety, I don't know exactly where it is from, but it's a landrace, it's an old variety. And you see like over here, you can see like brown, and there were some of them were still flowering. But I go like with 75 to 80%, if above 75% it's mature, I will harvest it.
Okay.
So then what I do with that, like I have here a whole pot of dill, and this is just, I still have in the field, and I already harvest probably 3 times this. So this dill is a serious dill.
Yeah, wow.
And it grows the whole season, this variety, and this swallowtails,
Yes.
black swallowtails. Oh my goodness, they go there like, but it was great enough. It's so prolific that like it make me feel comfortable enough that I can share with them.
Yes. Yes.
Without getting upset with them, like when they're eating. So what I do with this is like I go like this. But I mean, like right now I'm being gentle, but I usually like I will put a big blanket and I would just go like with this, just smash it. Since this is rubber and it has a little cracks, you can see the seeds will hide there and it won't smash the good seeds. Now there are certain seeds that are not mature or something, they will get smashed. So I go just like this with all of them. And then what I do is I'm trying to feel if there is wind here. No, it's not good enough wind, but we can make wind, right? So I have a fan here. So what I do is I'm gonna try to make sure this one is correct. Okay, so on this one, I'm gonna turn it into, so it doesn't blow all the seeds. So what I try to use like something that's deep so it doesn't fly away all the seeds. So what I do is like I will use one plate and I will just like, and all the chaff is gonna go away. Everything that's like lighter than the seeds and the good quality seeds are gonna stay over here. And I will do that like over and over. Now, in a windy day, like we had the last couple of days, all I did is just use natural wind. Like go find like, people maybe think I'm crazy, but when you are processing, like I was processing probably 50 pounds of cowpeas, you know, and I step on them, or I step with these ones again, I step on them on a big top. And then if I don't get it all, I will go with this with my hands and just smash it, just rubber on it until it's all peeled. And then I would go like, because the last couple of days we had perfect winds for cleaning cowpeas. So I will do exactly the same, but it's gonna be bigger top. Then I would just grab it and just let it fly away all the chaffs. And then you have your good seeds.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay.
Yep. So this one is like, for example, you can do use your hands too.
So and the seeds are too heavy. The seeds go directly down, but the chaff blown away.
Yep, the chaff. Yeah, and then you see over here, like I will show you, like how they get separated. Right? Like the chaff is on this side, and then maybe this way. Like if I do it like this, I can also show like how all the chaff is like all going flying away. Now, then the other way how you can separate seeds is also using screen.
Okay.
Now this one, like now it's for bigger scale, you know, like, I mean, like we have to even use bigger than these ourselves, because sometimes like again, like 50 pounds of cowpeas, you're not gonna have to use in this little one.
Yeah.
But this one, no, we bought this from Strictly Medicinal. They sell this. You can buy just the screens that comes from number 1 to 8 different sizes. So then what you do is just put it there, like for example, on this one, like if you want to separate, because there are big sticks here.
Yeah.
And that one is the same weight as the seeds. So what I do is like, I'll put it here and the seeds will fall down. And then all will be, now you have to find the right size of screen. This one is not the right size, but you have to find the right screens where the seeds can just go down easily and get all these big sticks.
Yeah.
So that's very, very simple. I had a little screen, a little kind of strainer. I got lost. But sometimes like little strainers are perfect enough if you want to separate, like, because sometimes they're like a little powders, they're heavy enough for the wind or the fan to not blow it away. So like little powder. So what I would use is like screen that I use for cleaning the tomatoes.
Yes.
And just let it go, the very fine powder if you don't like that. But again, like if you are saving seeds for your own use, you don't have to go through all this trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, because like, well, for time purposes, probably you could, but once you shatter from the mainstream on the deal, I mean, like, because this one is gonna keep a lot of space. It's gonna take a lot of space. So like you can even do with your hands too, you know, if you're just doing for yourself and then you just get it out and then you can store it like that. Like these don't have to be perfect clean, put it in a paper bag and then you have your seeds for next year.
So you cannot hurt the seed once it's dry by smashing it, you can't hurt it.
No. I mean, unless you are, that's why I like these rubbers. Like there are seeds they can even, Matthew figured it out how to do with a drill and some paint mixer. He put it together and he was able to process a lot of the wheats and barley and all those grains using that. And actually we did that with basil last year too, because we had like 10 varieties of basil and we had like quantity.
Yeah.
So this one was like, that was not gonna do it. So what we did is like 5-gallon buckets and use this drill and hook to the paint mixer.
Yeah.
And then we just run it. And then like 5 minutes, it was kind of like all, and the seeds didn't get hurt, the seeds. The seeds are very strong. They're way stronger than we can even think of.
Okay. So like my next.
Beans, cowpeas.
Yeah. So I do not have to break every one of these open to get these out. I could put these in a tote and step on them.
Yep. Now when you step, try to do this motion with your foot, like kind of like you're peeling, like kind of circles like this.
Okay.
Because if you just step on top, if you just step on it, all it will do is just gonna smash. But you do kind of like circle, like kind of like one foot after another foot. So that way you kind of like peeling with your foot.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's kind of like a little dancing like this, kind of like, oh, yep, I got it.
And you're using both of your feet trying to kind of peel away the.
Yeah, you can eat, but also when you use one foot, you can just go like this.
Okay.
Like this. So that will make you way easier than peeling one by one, unless you have a kid who loves it.
That's what I thought. This is going to take forever if I have to peel every one of those out. That's going to take forever.
Yep. Now let it dry completely, because the better it dries, the faster it gets. Because if it's still a little bit humid, it will just kind of open and stay open. Okay. And some of the seeds are going to be hiding in the ends.
Yes.
But if it's completely dry, it will break. All the pods are going to break. And then you like mix it again and step it again and kind of like shake it. So all the pods are gonna go on top and do it again, the same thing until it's all nice.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I like a tote, like a
A toad. Yeah, like this toad is a good size.
okay,
So it doesn't spill or anything.
okay. Yeah, see, I've
Yep.
got 3 different kinds to,
Awesome. Is that the rice copy?
yes.
Is that the beautiful? I love that one. That's delicious for soup.
And I did not pull them off until they were dry.
Complete. Yep. I love it. I love it. That was good.
Those ones break so easy.
Yeah, yeah.
This
And they
one.
can shatter. They can shatter sometimes on the field.
Yes.
Yes, they
Why
can.
is
Yeah.
that? Why does this one do
I think-
that more?
I think probably that one is close related to the wild relatives, because in the wild, plants need to figure it out how to spread their seeds without our intervention. So I
Okay.
think like that's what it has to do. I'm not like exactly where all these copies are on, but that one that's what it makes me think of, because like a lot of wild species, that's what they will do, just
Yes.
seeds are gone.
Yes. And then I have to go and pick them up when I
Yep.
see them, because I want to put them in a different area. So the ones that are on the ground, will those seeds be viable next year? The ones that on the cowpeas,
And
do they winter
had
over?
I didn't had good luck. I haven't really saw like cowpeas volunteering. So since they're like from warm weather, and makes me think like probably not. Probably they get killed in the brutal winter that we have.
Okay. Okay.
So, and also like probably what's gonna happen is right now, whatever it went in the ground, the weather is gonna, as soon the weather is gonna warm up a little bit, they're gonna germinate. And then the cold is gonna come and it's gonna just freeze them.
Okay.
So no, I never had a cowpeas volunteering. I'm trying to think. No, nowhere.
What about on the flowers? The ones that we didn't harvest, like the
Yes.
zinnias or the cosmos or
The cosmos, those cosmos, yes. Like some of them, they're gonna fall down. Even though last year, like we thought like we were on top, like harvesting, but obviously we weren't. Like this, when we went to back where was the zinnia, the cosmos last year, there was lots of them. So yeah, you may gonna have volunteers if you don't do the tilling. Now, if you do the tilling and you move the soil, obviously like they may gonna be buried way deeper, so they're not gonna be able to germinate. But if you leave it the soil untilled and kind of leave it alone, they do. Yeah, the variety does
okay.
volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's great. You had a cowpea. That's awesome. Yeah, because we had this cowpea, which is I was processing. This is the hog brain.
Hog brain.
Yeah, it's one of my most, because the pods, they can get this long. I thought I had one. Well, this one is not as long as I wish, but you can eat them when they are fresh like this.
Is
You
that
see?
green?
Yeah,
That's not dry.
yeah, it's not dry. This one is just for eating.
Oh,
They taste like a peas. Delicious. So they're a good snack for, my daughter likes to snack on them. So you can harvest like them
can
if you
you
want to eat them.
can you harvest it like that green and then let it dry in the pod in the house and then plant that next year, or it has to dry on the plant in order
It
for
has to dry on the plant. Like with the cowpeas, beans, they really have to mature in, because like at this stage, this one won't turn. This one is gonna dry into this little kind of greenish, way tiny. Like this is really tiny, and it's gonna become even tinier than that. So no, it's better to wait. It's the same thing with the green beans.
Okay.
A lot of people, we're just familiar with green beans as a green beans, but how do you get to seeds on the green beans? Now, this is one of the varieties of the green beans. It's called Cherokee black pole bean.
Okay.
And it's very prolific. My goodness, it produces beautiful long green beans. But then like for seeds, you have to let it go another extra month. And then like when it turns this color, sometimes it will turn like kind of purplish.
Okay.
And sometimes like a little whitish. And that's when you know the seeds, and the seeds are black on this one. Now, other varieties like a Kentucky Blue, something like that, I think is the name. Those ones are white.
Okay.
So then again, like you can just step on them, or you can use my latest technology. So this is what I would do. You know, like I would just like smash it, everything with. This one is not completely dry clothes. It's the same thing like the cowpea, you see? And then all that thing just gets, and then use the fan or the winnowing, and then you have your seeds. And yeah, these ones are beautiful seeds.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, they're beautiful black ones. I love these ones. They're very, and it's double purpose. You can eat them green, and then you can also eat it dry
Right.
as a black beans, right?
Oh, do you have those available on your website?
No, because we are always sold out that one. Not yet, but we are right now harvesting. Those ones, like, doesn't matter how much we grow. Every year we grow like more and more and more, and we always sold out.
Well,
I was telling Matthew, like, I think I'm gonna start selling like $1 a seed.
well, for it to be dual purpose, if you can eat it wet or harvest it when it's still wet, and then you could also let it dry and harvest it, that's a dual purpose. And that's
it is perfect. It is perfect. And it climbs very good. And it's just the perfect bean to me.
Yeah. I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah, that one is the best one to have. And then the next one, I think, like, we're talking about corn. Yeah, we have corn here. When do we harvest corn?
Is that dry?
Yes. So this dry. This is Loft House flower corn, landrace variety. It has all these different colors.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love red, but for some reason breeders want to take them out the color red on the populations. But I don't know why. But I love red. I mean, like, it's to me. But this one has more other colors too. So when do we harvest corn? It's like when all the skin is brown. And then what you do with corn is like to avoid, especially like when we have hot summers and humid, to avoid like sometimes like little fungus can go there.
Yeah.
If a rain comes and a heat comes, so you kind of have to pay attention. And when all the husk is nicely and dry, so you just take it out, and as soon as you can, you open it. And you can either hang it like this to dry it out, or you can just set up on a table, on a rack, somewhere on a shelf, so it can dry nicely and let it dry for at least a month.
And you dry it on the cob?
Yeah, you have to dry it on the cob.
Okay.
But yeah, you need to dry them in the cob, and you want to make sure you harvest them when all these layers, these are all nice and brown, in order to, that's when you know like the seeds are ready. Now again, like here in Kansas, you kind of have to do your balance, because like there's rain coming and there's a lot of worm that attacks the flower corn especially.
Oh.
They would just come in there, since it's kind of like softer than the dent corn. So they would just go there, and when you don't open it, like sometimes I will leave it there, and then I would see like on the shelf like these little crumbs.
Oh.
And then I would go and check, and like they would eat just like rows after rows.
That means something was in there.
Yeah, so it's very important. As soon as you harvest them, peel it off, and you see who's inside there and kick them out of there.
So are the seeds hard to get off the cob now that it's dry? or do they
It's
come
easy.
right off?
It's
Oh, it comes right
easy.
off.
It's easier. Once it's dry, it's easier. I don't want to do it this because it's not, because it's not, it's, once it comes out, they come out way easier.
Okay.
So what you
Okay.
can just do is like this, and some people have like a corn, what's that thing called?
Corn shucker?
Corn sugar, I think. I'm trying to think. I can't think of, but you can just put it there. Vroom.
And it pulls the,
Yeah, pulls all the seeds.
okay.
But doing by hand, it's so fun. Yeah, so like when you're saving seeds, you kind of have to make a little plan of, because it's not like, for example, sweet corn. When you're growing sweet corn or any corn that's just for eating, it takes shorter time. You know, a sweet corn can be ready in 60 days. Like one variety we have, Loft House. I didn't brought that. That's beautiful colors too. Astronomy. That one is probably will be ready in 60 days as a sweet corn.
Wow.
But from there, because that's like kind of the milky stage. And then from there, it has to go at least another month in order to mature the seeds and to dry on the plant. So it takes quite, I'm trying to think, when do we plant that? Oh, I had it the date. But that one was really fast. We just ended up harvesting all those corn cups on that sweet corn. So like some people like think like when you are trying to save seeds, like a lot of people right now are going to start having like fall garden, right?
Yes.
But like you have to really plan out. Like we planted the same day that we planted the astronomy sweet corn I was talking about, and this other Cherokee flower corn. The astronomy, you already produce the cups and the plants are dying off. They'll be ready to go for fall garden. But the Cherokee white flower corn is just start flowering.
Yeah.
So that will take a little
longer because it took longer.
It takes longer. But if it was for eating, right now is a perfect time to make tamales out of them.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to really plan in that thing. And this is the same thing with flowers. Like you got to make sure like you have enough time, enough space to, and the other thing I want to touch, it was like isolation distance. Corn, for example, you really have to separate them because we like diverse, we have like different colors, but we still try to keep like, if we plant like a flower corn, we're gonna keep that flower corn with whatever colors is in there, want that thing to stay there.
Yes.
And then keep the distance from sweet corn, for example, because you don't wanna like mix up sweet corn with flower corn all together and you don't know who is who.
Yes.
So it's a very important, the isolation. And the same thing with flowers is a little bit more harder because the pollinators.
Yes.
So like even though you keep it separated from one variety to another variety, but they can fly, and
they fly like 2
that.
miles. Bees.
Yes. And they can go just like, okay, I got from there, I can bring you a new color. How about that? Now with beans, it's more with beans and cowpeas because of the flower structure. They kind of like closed up, even though they're open, right? You can see like they have, but the main thing where it gets pollinated, it's closed. So it's harder for the bees or any pollinator to access to it. So it's like with beans, you can have 10 feet distance from one variety to another variety. You can grow multiple varieties. So it's not that big deal with beans, but with corn, anything else, you really have to think space, timing, because sometimes like when it rains, if a seed, for example, it was drying, like for example, the deal, we just harvested that 2 days ago because the rain was coming. And what happened is like sometimes they can start sprouting right in the plant if it gets wet.
Oh.
Or sometimes they would just these ones are good. Sometimes they would just go bad. they lose viability. So that's very important to make sure like any dry seeds don't get wet.
Okay. Harvest at the dry, harvest before a rain or when the plant is dry.
Yes, yes, yes.
That
And
is-
that's kind of hard.
That is one thing I noticed, like with the Cosmos, if the head got wet, it didn't
Yeah.
open
Right.
like
Yep.
the others. So it was like, there was,
Right,
they
right.
just look different.
Yeah, yeah. Now on the one that's not open, there is still some seeds, but not as many seeds as the other one.
Yes. Okay. And
So
it
the plant, it's trying to protect it, but in that process, some of the seeds are gonna rot
yes.
when they put it like that.
Yes. Okay. And it helps to know what it looked like when I planted it, because when I was for it, I was like, this doesn't look right. But there, the seeds are on the sides here where
You saw like, oh yeah, this is the one I planted.
yes, yes, it was helpful.
Yep, yep, totally.
Yes. Well, this has been a very educational, and I love the knowledge that you share with us, because when we don't know, we just don't know. So having the knowledge and then the confidence to save it and then to use them, because this is not something that I've done before. I've just usually go and I buy the seeds and
Right,
buy seeds and buy the seeds and buy the seeds. Now I can use the seeds of the things that I have, and I can maybe go buy seeds of other things that I don't have.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
and this is for everybody, so they can be self-sustaining.
Right, right. But I think like, I mean, like Americans, like how they come here, like they came with the wisdom. I mean, everybody knew how to save seed probably 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And it was the same thing like everywhere in the world, like, and I grew up like, I never thought like there was a food system and a seed system until I came here, and I was like, now this is interesting.
Yes.
Because like growing up, we always thought like seeds are a living thing. And the connection between life and death, like a plant is gonna die, but the seeds are carrying the information that plant had that for the next generation, just like ourselves, like your great grandparents, you're bringing their wisdom, you're passing to your kid, and their kids, the cycle goes on. But when we close that cycle and we have like inputs coming from who knows where, and it's going to who knows where, and we are not capturing that knowledge in the area, anywhere we are in the world at the end, because that thing is not just like the knowledge, it's getting lost around the world too.
Yes.
So Bolivia, like we used to grow up, like it was normal to harvest, just like, and whatever you don't plant it's left over, you just eat it.
Right.
Yeah, we just eat it. Like we would plant quinoa, like 100 pounds of quinoa, like in 10 acres of field. We plant all by hands. And then we have leftovers. We used to do everything by hand.
Yes.
Like, but we would go like, but it was like a community, like we would go like 10, 20 people, like young ones, like 14, 15. You have so much energy that you can just plant the whole area, and then whatever is left over, grandma will cook it in the night and keep it good.
Yes.
But now, like they do the tractors, which is understandable, it makes life easier. But with that also got lost the community that we used to have.
Yes.
Because nowadays, like young people don't know what to do. And that was also like when I become a mother, was like one of my motivations to like, I mean, I don't know if my kids are gonna go my route, They're like, no, it's too much work, I'm out of here.
Yes. Yes. So our ancestors, they did all of these things, and they saved all their seeds, and they carried them around from one homestead to another. And we got lazy and we said, we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to grow our food. We'll just go to the grocery store and we'll buy what they have. And then we started to notice that maybe what we're getting from the store is not exactly the same thing that our ancestors were planting and growing. And so now a lot of us are coming back to the olden ways. Let's provide food for ourselves.
Right.
Grow
Well,
our
I mean, like,
food.
right, when the industry started getting, and I mean, like, I think I was reading, there was a paper about like the tomatoes that it was grown 60 years ago to nowadays when they're breeding, for long shelf life, so they can travel longer, stay longer, like a tomato looking on I think it was like 63% less nutritious.
63% less?
Yes. So,
Wow.
and you can understand, like a plant, because what they are demanding out of plants, like, is, okay, you have to grow this perfect tomato that has to travel all the way from who knows where to who knows who, and it has to stay there long, and it has to be a high yielder, so whoever is growing has to make money. So, and I mean, like, if you think on that, if you were in that perspective, probably you understand, like, oh, I guess it makes sense. But then, like, as a consumer, when you are trying to feed your kid, like, okay, you have to eat your vegetables and you gotta eat these tomatoes, and the tomatoes is not as nutritious as you think. It's kind of like very deceiving.
Well, you grow a tomato and you buy a tomato from Walmart and you bring them home, they do not taste the same.
Yeah.
A tomato from the yard tastes way more like a tomato
right,
than the ones from the grocery store. The ones from the grocery store don't even taste like a tomato.
Yeah, it's very interesting with that, with tomatoes especially, because I did breeding tomatoes, and I mean, like, I know what is the demand of the industry, like, we were working with processing tomatoes, like, for example, for Heinz, the ketchup Heinz.
Yep.
And what you're looking there is, it has beautiful red colors, but it has to have a high yield, like we used to have like fields and fields, and I would just taste them. I was like, I like this one. I really like this one. I would tell my advisor, and he would be like, Nancy, yeah, but that thing is not really got a high yielder.
Yeah.
So you kind of had like, but that one is very red. You want the red color, so it can look like tomatoes. Oh. So it's, I mean, you can understand like how they tailor to fit the supermarket, because it'd be just bad if you go there and the tomatoes are just rotten.
Yes.
But if we grow our own, I think like.
So apparently it's 62% more healthy if we grow them ourselves.
True. And it's, I mean, like, it takes work, right? I mean, I guess you saw, it takes work. But then when you have like a bite of good tomatoes, it's just.
Yes. And then when you can take those tomatoes that taste delicious like a tomato, and you can process them to last until the next growing season, that is the key. That is the whole key.
Right. Are you going to be doing like some video about canning? I am not. I would love to learn that.
Yes, we will be.
Okay, that's great.
So right now Tag is getting, actually it rained yesterday, so I need to go out and look. He's trying to get the water hooked up in the processing kitchen so that we can wash things over there. It's nice to have water, running water.
Right.
The things that we take for granted, just to turn on the faucet and have water.
Oh, no, tell me about it. I tell my kids all the time. So I grew up like getting water out of the backyard. Walk over there, or like a grandma, be like a mile. You have to go walk a while, get the water.
Yep.
And I tell my kids, like, pass me water. Oh, it's so much work. I'm like, oh, hey, hold on here.
Yeah.
You take this for granted. And when you take it for granted, you just have to enhance the thing and do with other things that you can do with your life.
Yes. It's nice to be able to, well, it is nice to be able to just go to the grocery store and buy what you need.
I agree with you. I won't argue with you.
When you really think about it, and like you have kids, you're trying to feed them the best of the food that you can. You're trying to fill their brain with the best of the knowledge you can. You have this offspring that you want them to be healthy and happy and wonderful. But yet we're feeding them food that is 62% less nutritious than the food was 60 years ago. So we have to, at some point in time, take that control and do what we can with it. So to nourish our bodies and to nourish our offspring and our community, if the people that we surround ourselves with, we want them to be healthy too. So the nutrition that we're putting in our body has to come from somewhere. So has to come from us, our two hands. And I think that, for me, that is my goal, to be able to eat the food that is going to nourish our bodies to make us as healthy as we can. So you giving us this knowledge to be able to do this for ourselves is so wonderful. And I appreciate you so much for taking the time to share this with us. And then we need to come and get our seeds from you.
Oh yeah.
You can go to the grocery store and get the tomato and try to grow that seed that is 62% less nutritious than the seeds that we were getting from our ancestors. So first of all, we have to get our seeds somewhere. We have to get them from a reputable place. If we can't save them ourselves, first of all, we have to get them from somewhere first in order to start to save them later.
Yep. Then you can save and you can do your own crosses. And that's what I think, like how everything was domesticated. Like I think like 10,000 years, we weren't able to domesticate anything like as modern society that we are. But all the crops that were domesticated, I don't know, 10,000 years ago, like corn, tomatoes, and somehow these people who didn't know what they were doing, they were able to get us this,
Yes, that's wonderful.
So it's like, that my goal was also for my kids to learn, And my daughter she's good one. She really loves the beans. And the nice thing with kids is they love different colors.
Yes.
Because like we have, like, for example, whenever we're opening this, it's like a Christmas time. Because you are opening, it's like, it's yellow, and then the next one, it's red. The next one, it's kind of like yellow and red and other colors. Like, look at this, look at mine. And we have the same thing, like we call land races varieties of beans. She loves to peel them because it's like a little treasure for her. I just give to her, like, okay, see over here we have the dry bush bean, because if it's the same color, she's not interested in it. Mom, that's boring.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Look, I have this one, and she'll be like, and then she'll be excited with each bean that she will shell. She'll be like, Mom, this is white, this is black, this is pinkish. Look at the color on his bean. So just kind of like introduce that to kids and like being able for them to know. I think that was my main, like, kind of like, once I become a mom, it was like, I want my kid to have the best experience of outdoors and also know where the food comes from.
Yes.
Now, if they're gonna do on their life, we don't know. Because my parents were trying to pull me out of the field.
Oh.
Because, like when you're coming from a farmer background, the life is hard there, and there's like the goal of like any parents, like, you gotta do better than anybody. So my father's advice used to be like, you go study even just to become a secretary, and then you're gonna have your paycheck and all is gonna be good. So that was but then I was like, I really love plants, so I found this scholarship to go to Costa Rica to study agronomy. And everybody was against it. my teachers in high school, because I was one of the best students. So they were expecting me to go study, like the mathematician teacher was like, you should go study mathematics. And the historian teacher, I remember, like, Nancy, you should become like a historian teacher. You'll be good. And I'm like, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to deal with plants. And it's like, what are you going to do with agronomy? And then, like, in Latin America, agronomy is mainly for male because they drink a lot of beer.
Oh.
So whenever like an agronomist, you see like this drunk guy, I was like, that is agronomy for. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that degree, but I want to go there. I want to go and learn more about plants. So my passion always been plants. And I was like, when I become a mother, I was like, I want my kids to have connection with it. Now, whether they want to do it,
Yep.
That's probably my son. He won't do it, but maybe he will. He loves corn. So just to expose them, like, this, maybe they can figure it out something else that can work for everybody. We're providing healthy food. I mean, you never know, like, so that was kind of like, and sharing, the knowledge, whatever knowledge I have, and also like learning also from you guys. And I really want to learn canning, because that's one thing I never did in my life. I did once, and that's it. And I don't feel confident. And it's just the same thing like seeds,
Yes.
Because I remember canning the pears, and I didn't eat it because I didn't feel confident that I did it right. And it's the same thing. A lot of people, like, when they do the seed saving, it's like, maybe I didn't do it right. Maybe I didn't try, or maybe, but if you just plant it, you're going to see the magic of what you did. Like next year, like whatever you're saving seeds from those copies, from the cosmos, you're going to plant it. You're just going to be so magic. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, it closed the cycle right here on my eyes.
Yes.
So I think that's the nice thing. We have a neighbor here who saved some seeds from his peppers, but he didn't know that the peppers can cross. So last year they gave me some seeds. I germinate for them, and they were doing it. And I was like, kind of like advising how to do it, and they were so excited. They were able to germinate the seeds for themselves, and there was their own seeds. And now they are just excited to just like, even though this pepper is not the pure pepper because they had different varieties. They had Apache, they had Thai, they had jalapenos. It got mixed. Yeah. But it's a beautiful mix. You have this population of plants, like probably 30 plants, like some are like this tall, some are this little tall, some have like this tiny, and some of them that have like this kind of jalapeno. It's beautiful. But like now they are all like, okay, we're gonna save seeds from this, and we're gonna do this. Once you do that one cycle, it just brings you the confidence. That's what it takes with seed saving. Yeah. Just whatever you save this year, make sure you tag them. And then next year, plant them, tag them again there, so you know what you have there. And then from there, you can do your adventures. You can cross, you can combine, and that's gonna be yours for you and your space.
Yes. Yes. And there's only one way to find out if it's going to start growing or not. You gotta try it.
Right? True. That's a good one. I like it.
Yes. That's amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Is there, I can't think of any other questions that I had. I've got my hands full now that I know what to do with the seeds I've been collecting. Now I have to do something with them. And so like the tomatoes, once all of these seeds are all dry, you can just store them in a baggie, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
same with the cowpeas, or a jar.
Yeah. What I like to use with the seeds is
mason
glass jar. Mason jars, or like any glass jar, because it has a better, it controls better the temperature. Okay. It gets hot or warm. It just keeps nicely dry and kind of in a temperature what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So we use a lot of glasses. Like, and you can reuse any glasses that you have, like bottles,
Okay.
anything. It's useful.
Just make sure you label them.
Yep, the label is very important because I know there's a lot of people who save seeds and they have stock of seeds that they don't know what they are, and
Yes.
it's hard to throw it away as seeds.
Yes. And some things you could tell, like, oh, that's a tomato seed, but you wouldn't know what variety it was unless, and like you said, sometimes people say, oh, I'll remember. And then
That's enough.
and then you don't.
Right, because you have a million things going on in your life.
Yes, every single day.
Yep. So
Okay.
I think we are good. Very nice to talk with
Wonderful.
you, B.
Thank you so much for your help, Nancy. Thank you for allowing us to take your time.
Oh, thank you. And like, if you ask me, send me just a message if you need any question, if you have any questions with the Cosmos.
That's interesting that you said your history teacher told you that you needed to go and teach, and that's exactly what you're doing. You went and
That's hilarious. But
you
I mean,
learned
like,
all of this, and now you're teaching us. You're teaching the whole world.
that is very interesting. I ended up being a teacher at the end of the day, even though I was willing not to.
Well, we
Be
need
careful
that.
what you say.
Yes, we need you, Nancy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you to you. Everybody have a great day.
Wonderful. Goodbye.
Goodbye.